The MMO content creators make one of those list videos talking about the upcoming MMORPGs that might be releasing in 2023, even though experience has taught us that half of these games will be perpetually pushed back another year, only to be featured on next year's list. Honestly, some of the games featured in this video won't ever come out, and the ones that do probably won't live up to expectations. This list will be organised in the order of the MMOs that I'm the most optimistic about to the ones that I'm less optimistic about. But first, sponsor.
So currently we are reviewing this video, as you can see on the screen, every upcoming MMORPG in 2023. I'd really appreciate if you could subscribe to me as I'm reviewing the video, as well to LazyPeon that has produced the video. Thanks so much, and let's get with the video. Yeah, alright, so I'm not sure about AFK Arena. Are you playing this game or not? I personally am not. But nevertheless, I'm not too sure if I'm gonna play this ad. Well, you can view the ad, I'm not gonna skip it, just I'm not gonna use the sound thing. So, in regards to the videos, in regards to MMOs, I believe this is going to be a long video. In total, I saw this is around 20 minutes, so I'm not going to give too much of a detailed insights what I think about the game, but still, I'm going to look with you and see if we can have some sort of alignments regards to expectations, as I'm still looking for my new best game that I can dive into, and hopefully this video going to show me that. So yeah, let's stay tuned and see.
Figuring out which pet best suits each of your multiple teams.
It's still AFK Arena.
The art style on them too. Super cute with tons of personality. My favourite so far is the winged lion. It reminds me of a cross between Pikachu and a flying squirrel.
Kinda explains the paid promotion thing at the start of the video, right?
Click the link in the description below to download AFK Arena now and use gift codes RYNFZJK8.
Nice codes. This is easy to remember. Yeah, it's like random generated. As Asmongold said, it's like diffusing codes for bomb.
Now, if you're a regular viewer of the channel, you know that Ashes of Creation is the MMORPG that I'm personally the most excited for. It's the most ambitious, the business model they're going for doesn't compromise the integrity of the game, it's a nice mix of sandbox and theme park, as well as a mix between both PvP and PvE content. This game has so many features that talking about them all would take too much time, so for more info check out the big Ashes of Creation overview video on my channel that I made a few months back. So when will Ashes of Creation release? Well, personally, I think we can expect Alpha 2 sometime in...
I'm not too sure if this hype is gonna be real. The fact that Ashes of Creation is such a highly anticipated game, it very closely reminds me of Cyberpunk that was highly anticipated, and the very same thing as previously they created a good game, so Ashes of Creation has the very same thing. It has a huge studio and a big number of developers that are passionate about the game. They're showing the game beta alpha versions, but is it gonna live up to expectations? I'm very skeptical about it. I think at this point it's best to look for what's already released and what kind of games there are in the market, as per we're speaking now in 2023.
In the first half of 2023, with beta and full release late 2024. There's no official dates given yet, but by the time 2024 rolls around, the game would have been in full development for 7 years, which is similar to the amount of time it took to develop MMOs such as Elder Scrolls Online and Archeage in the past. The Riot MMO. I did a poll.
Okay. This should be very
on my YouTube channel a few weeks back, and next to Ashes of Creation, the Riot MMO was the second most highly anticipated MMORPG. Riot Games have a ton of money, resources and talent. All the games they've released in recent years have turned out to be highly polished and successful, and have kind of turned into a new age version of what Blizzard Entertainment used to.
I remember I watched one video in regards to Riot and their game development, and about the game developer who actually leading the Riot MMO project. And the guy said, we're gonna make the game, and just in case the game is not gonna be fun to play, they're gonna shut the game down. And the interviewer asked, so what about the releases, what about the money? And the main developer, the lead, responded that it's not like Riot gonna run out of money. So they're really aiming to make the best MMO possible, and just in case they're not gonna fulfill that, they're just gonna shut the game without damaging their own reputation, or just showing it to the public if the game is not polished enough or not complete or not satisfying enough for the whole big audience as they're trying to take, as they did successful with Valorant and the League of Legends already.
To be, where they would take a game or genre and put their own spin on it whilst making it highly accessible. We don't have a lot of info about the Riot MMO, and due to the fact we haven't seen any gameplay or even screenshots of the game, I can't see it releasing anytime soon. In my opinion, this is a 2025 and beyond MMO release. Finally, a game that's actually going to release in 2023, Throne and Liberty.
Oh, Lineage fans gonna love this.
This game's been in development for an eternity. Initially it was supposed to be Lineage 3 and was first shown off at G-Star in 2011, then they moved the game to Unreal Engine 4 under the name Project TL, then after that they renamed it to Throne and Liberty, and changed from an isometric MMO to a third-person open-world action combat MMO. This game's going to be a big competitor to Black Desert Online as it features castle sieges, open world.
Yeah, I even remember this video was released regards to the exact replicas of weapons that it really stole, well, not stolen, but taken from Lineage too. Like, this is Dark Akkad bow and such. So all of the armors, all of the skins is basically a rip-off from the original game.
World PvP guild vs guild battles, as well as massive world boss fights for hundreds of players in the open world. Personally, I'm very excited for this game, even though there's a high
this game really looks cool. For sure.
High likelihood of it being pay to win. The game's currently targeting a release window of Q2 2023. Diablo 4. Some people might not consider this an MMORPG, but you're able to see other players running around a massive shared open world and have the opportunity to group up with them, as well as touch a bit of that MMO feeling when taking down world bosses. Diablo 4 will also have PvP and other features that will...
Damn, Diablo 4 also reminds me of Diablo 2 and Diablo 1. I remember I was playing those games and really I cannot shake off that feeling, and even after playing Path of Exile, and the not so successful Diablo Immortal launch, I still can't stand but be expected and excited about Diablo 4 release. So nevertheless, I can't wait to play this game.
Also likely appeal
really
to
looks
MMO
cool.
fans. Diablo 4 will be releasing on June 6,
What about
2023, and I'll definitely be covering it on this channel when it does. Path of Exile 2. Once again, not an MMORPG, but the game will feature co-op parties for up to 6 players. PoE 2 seems like it's got a lot less shared world MMO light features when compared to Diablo 4, but will likely make...
Yeah, I somehow seen that the Path of Exile 2 gonna be very successful, but it still goes towards the very same narrative as Black Desert Online is going, where you're playing MMO, where only aspect of MMO is that you can trade certain items across the players, but the whole MMO experience for you is you're playing the game solo. So it really depends to you. I personally played the game for over 1,000 hours, so it's plenty, but I can't really play the game no more. It's just endless loop of the same thing, just different skins and different mechanics. So I'm pretty sure it's gonna be the same thing with Path of Exile 2. Nevertheless, I'm gonna play the game, but I'm not too sure if this is gonna be the best release of if it's gonna be releasing within. Oh, it's 2024, so I'm not sure if it's gonna be the best release within that year.
Up for it in depth, build variety, replayability, and content updates. Most MMORPG players that I know are also excited for Path of Exile 2, hence why I decided to include it in this list, and so far the game's looking like it will be releasing in either Q1 or Q2 2024. Blue Protocol is an upcoming anime MMORPG from Japan that's almost certainly going to be releasing in 2023, most likely early spring. This game already has a Steam page available and has been in development for quite some time. I actually played the closed beta of Blue Protocol over 2.5 years.
I don't know, somehow those anime games don't really excite me that much. I'm not sure how I got into Final Fantasy 14 myself, but this game is just, I don't know, not for me. What about you? Do you like anime?
Years ago at this point, before the game just went full radio silence for 2 years. From what I remember, it was a decently fun story-driven PvE MMO, although at the time nothing really blew me away about it. Regardless, most Japanese-made MMOs tend to do fairly well in the West, and I'd expect Blue Protocol to be relatively popular, as long as it's got plenty of content as well as a fair business model. Crimson Desert. This is not an MMORPG, it's a story-driven single-player RPG with multiplayer elements. As to the extent of those multiplayer elements, we're not sure.
Whoa, can you see? Wow, this looks really gorgeous. Really gorgeous. So polished.
Yet as of the making of this video.
Oh
Regardless though, this is a game being developed by the same developers as Black Desert Online, which means it will likely have an
Oh yeah, so this is Crimson. All right. Yeah, this is gonna be a very beautiful game for sure.
amazing action combat system that will likely appeal to most MMORPG fans.
Whoa,
As for release
that's
date,
amazing.
it's currently looking like Q3 or Q4 2023. Archeage 2. This Unreal Engine 5 MMORPG will be available on both PC and consoles and feature a massive open world with an action combat system.
I remember that the original game was very successful, however it fell apart due to huge pay-to-win aspects, and even though the game servers are re-releasing the game over and over again, but they keep implementing the very same pay-to-win mechanics into the game, so the original game is just keeps on failing and failing and failing. So the player base is really familiar with this scam, and I'm not too sure how much of the player base the Archeage community gonna capture, because once they see this thing and they're not returning to the game and they're just looking elsewhere.
A solid mix of both PvP and PvE.
I fell into the very same pit of the game. I'm not sure if you played Archeage yourself.
PvE content, as well as the ability to build giant ships and sail the open seas, which was the most famous feature from Archeage 1. The recent teaser trailer we got for Archeage 2 got me extremely excited. The game looks absolutely beautiful, and I hope Exile Games have learned from their past mistakes with Archeage 1. So far this game is slated for a 2024 release, however I personally wouldn't be surprised to see it pushed back into 2025. It's also a Korean MMO with a big emphasis on PvP, so I'd also expect it to have pay-to-win elements. Night Crows. This game was unveiled in November 2022 with one of the most badass trailers I've ever seen for an MMO. What's even more surprising is that the game is slated for an April 2023 release. The game's key feature is that it can supposedly support 1,000
Looks so cool, right?
player PvP battles, which is something I'm kinda skeptical about. Visually, the game looks very nice, utilising Unreal Engine 5's rendering tech. However, my biggest skepticism comes from the fact that Night Crows will be cross-platform on PC and mobile, and apparently use blockchain technology. No idea how this game's gonna...
If it's gonna be cross-platform between PC and mobile, I know one game that I tried to play like that is, I think Adventure... something with adventure. So basically you have instances between zones. So in order for your mobile phone to catch up with your PC, you have instances. So you go to one area, you have loading screen, you go to another area, you have loading screen. So you can't play simultaneously on both devices because one of the devices has more resources. So in this case, it's PC has more resources, so it can load the whole map for you. But if we're speaking about mobile, it can't do that. So unless it's a very powerful tablet, but it's not gonna happen. So I believe it's not gonna be such a cool game. If you like instance MMOs or any play style, I'm not sure. I personally don't. It's one of the things that annoy me, and I believe that one of the things that stood out from the very early in the gaming community is that the World of Warcraft, Lineage has this, and Final Fantasy is that they have opened areas. Not all of the areas are instanced, but most of the areas are very open. Now, when I think about it, yeah, Final Fantasy don't really have those big areas, but World of Warcraft and Lineage, it just, and Black Desert, you load the game and you're in, that's it. You have no longer loading screens. But if you want to play it on mobile, it's gonna be definitely loading screens.
Turnout,
for sure.
But I'll be trying it regardless. Wayfinder is yet another recently announced game making this list, and it actually looks pretty decent. I'm not too sure to what extent this game is massively multiplayer, but MMORPG is a tag that the game is using to describe itself on the game's Steam page, which is already up and available for wishlists. Based purely on the trailer, Wayfinder to me looks like a third-person multiplayer stage-based looter, but I might be wrong. Not much details are known other than the game will launch in late 2023 and have a fair free-to-play business model, whatever that means these days.
Fair free-to-play is that either you play the game no live, or you pay for convenience.
Palia is probably the most casual MMORPG on this list, and that certainly isn't a bad thing, as that's the exact niche this game is targeting. Imagine Stardew Valley, but 3D, third person with multiplayer. Basically the perfect game to play with your partner. Palia describes itself as a community
MMO players don't have partners.
Sim game set in a vibrant world with a cozy art style and overall vibe. In this game you can forage, hunt,
yeah, I don't know. I want to ask, is it only me? But this kind of 3D, like Fortnite animation style, it doesn't get me excited at all. It looks like very, very low effort added into the game graphics, and I'm not sure. Call me old-fashioned, but World of Warcraft graphic, it's even more polished than this. And I really like realistic graphics, like in Black Desert, like in Lineage. Even Final Fantasy has those realistic graphics, but these graphics where it's super like kid-like animations from Shrek 2, it's good for kids, but for MMO players that I believe is like over age of 8, it's just low effort. And I don't know, it doesn't look too much appealing to me. What about you?
Catch insects, go fishing, cook, furnish your house, and do some gardening. As for release date, I'd expect this sometime in late 2023, as the game's already had multiple playtests at this point. Corepunk. This is quite a unique upcoming MMORPG that I've personally been excited for quite a long time.
Yeah, this looks interesting.
MOBA-style top-down gameplay, but in an MMORPG with fog of war. It's certainly a unique concept that hasn't been done before. Corepunk looks like it has a solid mix.
Okay, I'm not sure, but so far it looks really cool and interesting.
Mix of both PvP and challenging PvE content, crafting, an open world, vibrant art style, character customization, and multiple classes. In terms of development, the game looks pretty far along based on the gameplay shown, and was supposed to have a beta test at the end of 2021, which was delayed. Unfortunately, the devs faced further delays due to having a studio based in Ukraine at the start of the war. Thankfully, the most recent update states that the team are fully back on track, so I'd expect us to get our hands on Corepunk sometime in 2023.
Man, best luck with development. This game really looks amazing, like for sure.
Bitcraft is a game that's taking a different approach to the sandbox MMORPG genre. As you can see from the trailer, it has cozy, stylized, cel-shaded graphics and quite a relaxing vibe. This game features procedurally generated landscapes, the ability for players to come together and construct their own towns, crafting and gathering systems, farming.
Nothing I like more than sandbox MMORPGs. Like my cherry on the top, my lovely pancakes on Sunday. I love them. Sandbox MMORPGs, best type of MMORPGs.
Hunting and fishing, and it seems to be a cross between survival game and MMORPG with a strong social focus. No announced release date yet, but the game's recently began the pre-alpha testing process, so perhaps this is a 2024 MMO. Hytale is a voxel-style MMORPG that was initially announced.
So many games, right?
4 years ago. This game's more of a sandbox-style MMO and will feature building, minigame creation, quests, dungeons, bosses, character customization, different classes, and a ton of in-game tools to help content creators make their own content for the game. Hytale has recently redeveloped its engine to support multiple platforms, and the latest info I can find is that the team are eyeing a 2023 release.
Okay, wait, I need to close the balcony, it's super cold. Yeah, bam. Let's go.
Profane describes itself as a true player-driven sandbox MMO that takes place in a traditional fantasy setting. You'll be able to explore a dynamic world that reacts to your actions, partake in open-world PvP, build houses, and enjoy skill-based action combat. Visually, I like the vibrant, stylized graphics of this game as
Looks really simple.
well as the PvP territory.
And speaking about procedure-generated actions and then responses to actions, the thing is, if you have certain reaction to infinite actions, that's good. But if you have limited responses to infinite actions, it's gonna flop.
Control focus. Currently, there's no information on a release date for this game, so I'd have to speculate 2025 and beyond. The day before is probably the most hyped third-person looter shooter.
Yeah, I haven't seen this at all. Whoa. Looks cool.
To MMO coming in the near future. This game was initially revealed in January 2021 with a trailer that many people had doubts about, given the fact it's a massive open world zombie survival shooter similar to The Division, but it's made by a relatively small dev team that hasn't released a project anywhere near this scale before. The day before is currently set to release on March 1st, 2023 and can already be...
It looks like... what? It's like... yeah, not polished enough. Alright. This is cables or water?
Added to your Steam wishlist.
Probably
Honestly
cables.
though, this seems like the kind of game you should wait for the reviews for before buying. Project LLL is the latest looter shooter MMO from
Just games are going berserk, right?
NCSoft, and in November 2022 was unveiled with a relatively well-received 9-minute gameplay trailer which showed some impressive visuals, although rather clunky looking gameplay and animations. NCSoft has quite a lot of money and have put out some decent games over the years, so I'm excited to see how this one turns out. As for a potential release, this one's looking like a 2024 and beyond MMO. Nightingale isn't really an MMORPG, but it's a first-person multiplayer open-world survival game that I think will likely appeal to MMO players given its fantasy theme. Nightingale will release in the first half of 2023 and features procedurally generated realms to explore, a mix of melee weapons and guns, colossal monsters, gathering, crafting, building, and the ability to recruit NPCs to work on your homestead. Looks like an interesting game and it's already available to wishlist on Steam.
Okay, that's super cool. That monster that you just saw, it looks like Princess Mononoke, the spirit animal. Not sure if you saw the movie or not. It's anime.
Past Fate is a Viking-themed open-world indie MMORPG that should be coming to Steam Early Access in 2023. Visually, the game has decent graphics and seems to be going with a Souls-style action combat system. Past Fate will feature 5 playable classes: Warrior, Necromancer, Mage, Pirate and Priest, a crafting and gathering system, quests, and various monsters such as zombies, demons, and giants. I think this game looks quite cool, and I'm looking forward to covering it on the channel when it releases on Steam Early Access. War of Dragnorox is another indie MMORPG coming to Steam Early Access in 2023, and has recently announced that it's transitioning to Unreal Engine 5. This game is a sandbox MMO with a traditional fantasy setting of orcs, dragons and goblins, and there'll be a big emphasis on player exploration with no hand-holding, no world map, no level scaling, and lots of dungeons and raids to explore.
Opportunity for pay to win, but so far it's no guides, no map. Man, it looks like an amazing game.
Soulframe, basically Warframe the MMORPG, but with a slower, more deliberate combat system, perhaps similar to Dark Souls. This game is very early in development, so not a lot of details are known about it yet. Regardless, Warframe was a quality game with a fair business model and a solid developer team, so I'd expect good things from Soulframe. As for a release date, it will be 2025 and beyond, most likely. DUNE Awakening is a recently revealed open-world survival MMO based in the Dune universe. In this game, you'll explore the vast lawless deserts of Arrakis, fighting bandits, sandworms, and other alien creatures with a third-person combat system.
It's like the movie, The Dune, right?
Where you'll be able to utilize various infantry, ground, and flying vehicles. Obviously, as a survival MMO, gathering, crafting, and base building will also be a big factor. There's not too many details out about this.
Yeah, that's the thing with the survival MMOs. I'm not sure if you noticed or not, but I remember when the survival MMOs as Conan and the Ark started coming out, the optimization of those games are horrible, and it doesn't matter what kind of PC setup you have. It's just random FPS drops. Like you can have 120 140, and then it drops just to 20 because of the scale and lack of optimization of the game. So I haven't seen really a good optimization of survival MMOs recently. So regards to those survival MMOs, I'm very skeptical, even though I'm always skeptical, but in regards to those, I'm like actually super skeptical.
Game right now, but it's looking like a game that will be playable in early access either late 2023 or early 2024. Horizon Online is another upcoming MMORPG that was recently confirmed to be in the works from Guerrilla Games. We don't know anything about this game other than it featuring a completely new cast of characters from the other Horizon games, as well as going for a unique stylized aesthetic. This one seems extremely early in development, so I wouldn't expect any release until 2025 and beyond.
I played the first version of Horizon. It really looked like ARPG, well, like an RPG, like a really polished one. With regards to the transferring and doing the very same thing for online verse is very close to like Red Dead Redemption and making it an online version where some of the things can't be seen for other folks and you have limitations. And well, I hope the guys have a very good plan how they're gonna pull it off, because in most cases what happened is it just expectations are very high and reality hits in very, very hard.
Into the Echo is an Unreal Engine 5 MMORPG that was teased in September 2021 with a trailer that quite frankly shows next to nothing. We do know that the game will feature time travel through different civilizations.
The hell is that movement? You saw that? Crazy. Check it out.
Quite frankly,
like super tight skirt back in medieval times when skirts didn't exist.
Shows next to nothing. We do know that the game will feature time travel through different civilizations though, which is kind of interesting. This is yet another MMO that I wouldn't expect to release any time before 2025. Madworld is a Korean isometric MMO set in a world with gruesome cartoon-style visuals. This game will be free to play, feature a mix of both PvP and PvE.
Yeah, I somehow believe this is for MapleStory fans that just got sick of MapleStory. I'm not sure how it's gonna work out in the West.
Content, as well as some of the most hideous bosses you'll ever see. I expect Madworld will release in 2023, as the game's recently been in beta testing and a Steam wishlist page is already available. As with all free-to-play Korean MMOs though, do expect this one to come for your wallet. Legends of Ymir. Similar to Nightcrows, this is a recently announced MMORPG from WeMade that will also be cross-platform on mobile and PC, as well as using Unreal Engine 5 and blockchain technology. Once again, lovely trailer, but we'll have to wait for the gameplay to see if there's any promise with this one. I'm super skeptical myself, especially with how Myr 4 turned out. Legends of Ymir is currently looking like a 2024 release as of the making of this video. Chrono Odyssey, another
So many games.
Unreal Engine Korean MMORPG that showed off a cool trailer 2 years ago that was mostly CGI. This game will be cross-platform on PC, PS5 and mobile devices, and not a whole lot is known about the game. Apparently Chrono Odyssey is confirmed for 2023, but given the fact that we haven't seen any actual gameplay yet, I kinda doubt it. Ares Rise of Guardians is an upcoming sci-fi MMORPG from Kakao Games that gives me budget Warframe vibes. This game will be available on both PC and mobile, so it probably won't be very good, but it has a cool theme regardless. This one should come out sometime.
It's really I don't know, I have the feeling like it's gonna be like 5 skills or 4 skills that you can press, and the rest of the skills is just tied to the movement. It's not like BDO, just more like game called, wait a minute, Genshin Impact. It's like game called Genshin Impact. That's the name of the game. Really, like a couple of skills that you can use, and that's it. All you need is just aim, shoot, and wait for HP to drop. It really looks like very good review from LazyPeon.
Time in 2023.
Good
Odin
insight.
Valhalla Rising, another upcoming PC/mobile MMORPG from Kakao Games that visually looks quite good. Unfortunately, the gameplay looks like it's a lot of auto-pathing and auto-combat, probably heavily pay to win too, but I like the Norse theme of the game. Expect a global release for this in 2023, although I don't think it's going to be a game that will be received too well by critics.
It looks like super cool animations, but this game style, if it's an MMORPG and you have one style, it's gonna be hard. I think one of the things that MMOs are doing is just trying not to stick to one particular style, because you have those styles tied to the expansions, not to the game. So we'll see how it's gonna go.
Ember Sword is a blockchain MMORPG that's been in development for years. It reminds me of Albion Online but with more basic graphics. Ember Sword will be a browser MMO with PvP, land ownership,
Browser MMO with PvP. Okay.
top-down gameplay and action combat. I'm actually curious to try this game simply because this is one of the few blockchain MMOs that have been in development for years before crypto gaming became a hype bandwagon, with its first announcement
Graphics looks amazing, right?
trailer all the way back in 2018. As for release date, it's looking like 2023. Perhaps some of you remember a game a few years back called Project BBQ. This was supposed to be a third-person multiplayer action RPG version of Dungeon Fighter Online. Well, Project BBQ was scrapped and transitioned to Project AK. Now this is still a game that's going to be set in the Dungeon Fighter universe, however now it's going to be more of a Souls-like in terms of gameplay, and it's only going to be releasing on
I'm not really falling for Souls-like games, but somehow this animations and anime style, when it's Souls-like, it really catches my eye, and I'm really eager to try this game out.
consoles initially. Star Citizen is the biggest meme when it comes to upcoming MMORPGs, as many people say this game will never release. It's by far received the most crowdfunding money out of any game ever at over $500 million. In all fairness to Star Citizen, some parts of the game are playable and look pretty cool. The truth is though, nobody knows when or if this game will ever release. Pantheon Rise of the
Probably gonna be like a bankruptcy on the company as they run out of money.
Fallen. This game has been on every single upcoming MMORPG list video for the past 8 years, and it's currently still in pre-alpha. And by pre-alpha, I mean pre-alpha, not some marketing alpha like we've gotten used to over the years. Pantheon Rise of the Fallen is basically trying to be the spiritual successor to EverQuest, and based on the most recent footage shown of it, I can't be bothered to talk about the game any further because it still looks like it's a solid 5 years away from completion. Camelot Unchained has been in development for 10 years at this point, and we haven't had an updated trailer for the game in 9 years. The devs haven't shown any progress update on YouTube for 2 years, but apparently it's still in development and they've just secured an additional $15 million of funding somehow. Personally, I don't think Camelot Unchained will ever release. So out of all the upcoming MMORPGs mentioned in this video, which ones are you the most excited for? Honestly, the last time I made a video like this, 50% of the games mentioned either ended up being dead on arrival, straight up cancelled, or perpetually delayed. But hopefully a few of these MMOs will turn out good. For me, my hype lies with Ashes of Creation, the Riot MMO, Archeage 2, Throne and Liberty, and Soulframe. If any others turn out to be good, then it'd be a pleasant surprise. This video took quite a lot of effort with research and writing to make, so if you found it useful, help us out with a like button for the algorithm gods.
Subscribe to LazyPeon, is a good content creator. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you like this video, I hope you like this review, and yeah. If you have any sort of questions regards to the video and my comments, let me know down in the comments. Thanks so much and see you in the next one.